So I'll start with team name. So I wanted to do the traditional sports team, the place and an animal kind of mascot thing. I liked the idea of alliteration, so like Seattle Seahawks. I wanted to use Maui because that's my favorite island, and I was originally going to do Maui Makos, but then I found out the Hawaiian word for shark is Mano, so it became Maui Manos. Then I found out that in Hawaiian, when you pluralize a word, you don't put an S on the end of it, you put na in front of it. So Maui na mano, as far as I understand, means Maui sharks. All right, so here is where I came out after the startup. So at the very beginning, I knew I wanted at least one of the elite tight ends and one of the you know, top two tiers of quarterback. So Mark Andrews went up first. I liked the price because in this league, tight ends should be about as valuable as a quarterback. Mark Andrews is top two in both dynasty and competitive, so I pulled the trigger on that one. Did have to give up on Pitts later, but that was the price. Joe Burrow came up. I liked the price with him at first. The next couple days, as the other tier two quarterbacks ended up being a lot cheaper, didn't look so good. And then, especially into the next day when all of the lower end quarterback two types got to be just about as expensive as the tier two, tier three quarterbacks. My whole plan to get a couple of cheaper young quarterbacks to develop wasn't as successful. So I had to go for an absurd price, and that was just the cost of all of the quarterbacks in that range. So what could you do? Um, Hopped on a couple value guys here, Cole Kmet and Zach Wilson at those prices I thought were too good to pass up. So after the first two tight ends, Mark Andrews and Kyle Pitts, the trend of paying for tight ends as if they were quarterbacks did not seem to hold up. So Sean and I probably screwed ourselves with those, but found some values at tight end. So I got Cole Kmet and Noah Fant for prices I would not have thought I could at the beginning of the auction. So you win some, you lose some. Wide receiver, got a few young, promising guys. Marquise Brown, absolutely loved for that price. Jerry Judy, I thought I overpaid for, but everyone else was going for more than that. Jameson Williams, that was really starting to hit the panic button. All of the good wide receivers were gone at that point. I was too cheap early on, so I missed out on some guys for good prices, thinking there would be better ones later. There were not. So after that, took some darts, overpaid again on David Bell and Khalil Shakir, two darts that I really liked this year. Ended up paying far too much for them, but what can you do? It's I knew what I was doing when I put the bids in there. I just didn't think anybody would price check me. And then Jahan Dotson is I think another a good steal at that range. Jahan Dotson and Rondale Moore for 20s I think was a good deal. And then darts after that. And the James Washington news tearing his ACL came out as I was winning that bid. So not great. All right, so as it stands, here would be my starting 12. Joe Burrow and Tua at quarterback 1 and 2. Not bad. Absolutely punted running back. That was the plan going into the auction, thinking it would give me some good advantage to get other wide receivers and tight ends. Didn't actually end up being as successful on that front as I had hoped, but yeah, we got something to start with here. I got these 5 promising young wide receivers. Obviously, Jameson won't actually be starting for some good time, but this is probably the best ones I have on my roster. And then I'd be starting 3 tight ends as it stands with these 3. Not very many, but a couple other noteworthy bench players. I got Zach Wilson, who is in a rough spot right now, but hoping that bounces back with as good a situation as he's in. David Bell and Khalil Shakir, like them. Got some fillers in Will Fuller, Rashard Higgins, Antoine Wesley that might luck into some good matchups and have have a little bit of value bump here and there. Probably nothing. Yeah, something to look forward to. And then tight end, Daniel Bellinger, really liked this year. The other ones, more just complete darts. A couple of rookies in there to stash, and then Zach Davidson, who I'm hoping turns into the next Tyler Conklin on that team, and as a lofty goal as that is. So that is my team. Not looking great, not the worst. Something to work on. My whole plan going into the auction was to build a young team with some holes. That at the end of the year I could evaluate going into the next rookie auction. Whether I could go forward trying to plug those holes or if I should re-roll, try to fill some spots with guys that didn't fill in as well as I'd hoped they would. So, yeah, so I'm talking about the Jahan Dotson, Rondale Moore, Jamison Williams guys, the Noah Fant, Cole Kmet's, guys that I'm really hoping take the next step that I believe in to do so this year. And if they fall flat on their face, then maybe I'll be reevaluating those positions next year as a rookie auction. If everybody succeeds with flying colors, maybe I'll look at running back, but I'm not going to hold my breath at this point. So that is my team.